What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video over here on the Dino Ninja channel. And once again, we're doing What If Belle was transported, or what if Belle had the Omnitrix? Can't you tell I've done a little bit too much of What If Deku was in Daimonji? Nope, neither can I. So, where we last left off, Belle had joined the Hestia Familia after finding the Omnitrix on his way to Aurelio. He has gained rough control over Heat Blast and most of the basic 10 aliens that he has seen. Heat Blast, Diamond Head, Cannonbolt, Wildvine. He's gotten control over all of those. Accelerate, etc., etc. Belle wakes up the next morning. He stretches. It's a beautiful day, he says, as he gets up and he tries not to wake up his goddess as he enters the dungeon. I wonder what form I should take, Belle says, as he looks at his Omnitrix and he starts flipping through, or he looks at his watch as he starts flipping through all the aliens on his watch. He's like, I haven't done this one much, as he smacks his hand down right on the wristwatch and transforms into forearms. Haha! Yes! Oh, I forgot this guy. He's so cool, Belle says as he looks at all four of his arms. He continues walking when a goblin runs around the corner and screeches at Belle. Belle runs up to the goblin and socks the goblin in the face with one of his arms. Haha! Get wrecked! As he then takes one of his other arms and hits the goblin again, beating the goblin repeatedly. Eventually, the goblin falls lifeless onto the floor. As Belle smiles, he's like, haha! That was an easy fight. I wonder what's next, he says, as he turns around and continues walking into the dungeon. Belle then continued to fight goblin after goblin. It was a pretty easy time for him as he went deeper into the dungeon. He started picking up multiple monster cores, when he then eventually found himself near the 7th floor of the dungeon. Belle looked around, trying to find anything to fight him, when suddenly a big giant bull-like creature, which Belle recognized to be a Minotaur, showed up. Huh? What's that? Belle says as he gets rammed by the Minotaur as he gets sent flying back. The Minotaur screams as Belle holds his gut in the forearms form. Ah! What the heck, dude? Belle says towards the Minotaur as he stands back up. The Minotaur charges at Belle once again. Belle grabs the horns of the Minotaur with his two arms and lifts him up and chucks him into the nearby wall. Crash! The Minotaur screeches in pain. Roar! Belle then quickly charges at the Minotaur and socks him in the gut. The Minotaur spouts out a mouthful of blood as Belle smiles as he gives him a clean uppercut, sending the Minotaur flying into the roof, causing cracks to form on the ceiling. Just when Belle does that, suddenly a sword nearly comes barreling towards his face as Belle barely dodges it. He sees a human girl who seemed to be about to attack him. Belle raises his hand. Whoa, 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 whoa! No attack! On same team! The girl doesn't believe him as she strikes down the Minotaur and looks back at him. Belle looks back at the girl as he goes, what, you done? You're gonna continue shooting me? Or stabbing me? The girl doesn't say much as she looks at Belle with her axe pointing to him. Suddenly, Belle's watch starts to flicker a red glow. As the girl's about to strike Belle, he de-transforms back into his human form with his hands raised, and he's like, please! God! The girl looks very confusingly. She says, "What the?" Belle's like, "Hi. Don't kill me? Is that doable?" The girl sighs as she puts away her weapon as she looks at Belle. And she says, "Explain." Belle says, "Hi, I'm Belle Cannell. I have a watch that lets me transform into various different beings. The one that you saw me transform into is called Forearms. And he's called Forearms for an obvious reason. He has 4 arms." Okay. So, why do you choose to use such a watch? I could have killed you there, you know? Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. Well, the only reason why I didn't is because I thought it was weird that a monster was speaking English. Especially at such a high floor. Well, that's good. Okay. So why don't we just say our goodbyes and we could just move along? Okay, but I'm gonna have to have you meet my other familia members before I let you do that. Fuck, Belle thinks, as he tries to think of a way out of it. His watch is still on cooldown, so he couldn't actually leave just yet. Or he would have used Accelerate to bolt out of there. Okay, Belle says as he sits down as he waits for the woman's other familia members to show up. Eventually, after some time, a small man with yellow hair, a dwarf, 2 elves, and what appears to be a wolf-like man all show up. Eyes! What are you doing? Did you at least kill the Minotaur? Eyes shakes her head no as she says, "No, this young man did it." "Okay, and why are you standing here?" says the wolf man. "Oh, that's because this man could transform into monsters." Huh? Yeah, he was fighting the Minotaur in a monster-like state. Okay. So he has a skill that lets him transform into monsters. So what? I just thought that maybe it might be an issue, especially in case if anyone else encounters the person while he's in his monster transformation. Because I know I almost killed him. Okay, and what do you want us to do about it? I want him to come with us back up to the surface. And why? Well, because I almost killed him. Okay then. Sorry about this, lad, but could you come back up to the surface with us? Says the small yellow-haired man. Belle agrees. He has no reason not to agree. So he says, "Sure, I'll come back up with you guys." As he tries to look for a reason not to go back up with them. He couldn't find one, so he follows them up there. On the way up, they start chatting about many things while also running into a few monsters every now and then. They don't find any monsters, or don't find much, as they head up there. Eventually, they reach the surface as Belle quickly transforms into Accelerate and zooms off, which shocks half the Loki familia members because they hadn't really seen him transform since then. Belle makes it back to Hestia and says, "Hestia-sama, I'm back." Hestia turns around and is like, "Belle, where were you? I looked all over for you and I couldn't find you anywhere. Sorry, I hit the dungeon pretty early." "And is that one of your forms that Hephaestus was telling me about?" Belle looks down and sees that he's still in Accelerate, as he then de-transforms back into his humanoid form. And sorry, Hestia-sama. I didn't mean to come down here in my more alien-like form, or my more monstrous-like form. It's fine. Just give me a heads up next time. Well, would you like for me to show you all the forms that I know I have? It would be appreciated. Okay then, Belle says as he starts going through all of his different forms. It takes roughly all night for Belle to show Hestia all the forms that he has. He also lamented, saying how Heat Blast is one of his favorite forms that he owns. After he was done with that, he went back over to where he went back over to the guild because he remembered he never turned in his monster cores, and he turned those in promptly, earning him a nice about 300 vowels for all the monsters he had slain that day. That was exciting. He brought his cash back to Hestia, as Hestia gave him a well congratulations as they both went out to eat. They actually went to the hostess of fertility to go out to eat. Upon going there, they entered into the room, both of them ordering various different foods on the menu. They had a nice dinner, and then a little bit part ways while they were eating, someone had entered the room. It was very loud and obnoxious, but Belle could tell it's the Wolfman, which he learned the name to be Bait, as well as Eyes, Finn, Gareth, and the whole rest of the Loki familia party, or the Vanguard party, as well as Loki-sama herself, which Hestia seemed to have some sort of grudge against that Belle couldn't put his finger on. Eventually, while they were eating, Belle heard them discuss about the Omnitrix, or not the discuss about his watch and his multiple different forms. Eyes was telling Loki about how they had met a child inside the dungeon, and how this person seemed to be able to transform into multiple different forms at basically what akins to on command, which parked Loki's interest. As she then says, were they any good? Which Eyes says, yeah. They were able to fight a Minotaur at level 7, so I assume that they're roughly a single level as adventurer, and Minotaurs are known as level 2 killers. So I believe that they would be decent, which interests Loki very heavily. Then Eyes says that he also seemed to have multiple different forms, because he transformed into what appeared to be a weird speed-like form where the man went at supersonic speeds, almost akin to me using aerial and going at full speed, which heavily piqued Loki's interest. And then Loki asked, where is this man? And Ice says, I don't know, but I do know that he at least seems to be in this place, at least. Huh. Okay, then. Well, you find me this man and tell him that he's invited to join the Loki familia. Upon hearing this, Hestia then slams her fist down on the table, which angers the owner of the business, but Hestia was able to sweet talk him to not caring. Loki turns around to see who had slammed their fist on the table and saw that it was her good old friend, Hestia. Ah, Hestia! I didn't know you were here. Yes, Loki, I am here. Don't like you talk about my familia member that way, like you're gonna poach him. Like he's some sort of animal. Your familia member? We were talking about this weird transformation rookie. Don't know what you think he is. After stating this, Loki laughs as Eyes taps Loki on the shoulder and then tells her that the boy sitting next to Hestia is actually the one that she was referring to earlier. This greatly entices Loki, as she then says, boy, you, what's your name? I'm Belle Cornell. Okay, Belle, how about this? Why don't you join my familia and leave your goddess in the dust? Belle looks at Loki like she's high and says no. This greatly confuses Loki, as Loki responds with, "But why not? I have a great familia. You know, plenty of people here that will greatly help you. Still, no. I do not believe it is worth my time to join your familia. It's just not something for me to do. I've already made a promise to stand by Hestia's side, and I will not forsake it." This greatly starts to annoy Loki, as she's then like, "Okay, boy, name your price then. What will get you to join?" Belle sits there and looks like he's thinking for a moment before he then says, "Nothing." I thought I made my point very clear at this point, that I want nothing. That I'm gonna be staying with my goddess. If I haven't, then please inform me, but I'm pretty sure I have. Loki sighs as she then scratches the back of her head. She's like, "Okay, kid, if that's what you want." So Loki then grumbles as she's eating her food. Hestia gets a devilish smile. She's like, "Haha, yeah, take that, Loki." Eventually, Belle and Hestia, after finishing their food, they go ahead and leave and head back to their house. Belle goes to bed early so he can wake up early tomorrow and go ahead and do his work that he wants to do. And while Belle was sleeping, we then cut over to a man sitting on a chair. This man's looking at his screens as he's looking over everything. As his minion walks up to him and says, "Sir, we have found the Omnitrix. We know where to go ahead and retrieve it." "Yes, but isn't that planet have those weird energy signatures that y'all were so afraid of?" "Yes, sir, but we can probably get there without any issue. It doesn't look like those personnel have even achieved space travel yet off their own planet." "Huh. Okay then. Let's do it," he says. "Set collision course for Earth." As the man starts to evilly cackle as he starts riding away. So that's where we're going to leave it off, guys. If you liked it, hit the like button, and if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. And until next time, goodbye.